once again.
Yes.
We thank the Lord for his blessings unto us all. Desire your prayers this morning as we look at the second part of our message from the first chapter of Ecclesiastes. We want to consider the second half of this chapter. The fact that Solomon was up in years and was reminiscing and considering what he had done in life, him being the wisest man to ever walk the earth, the wisest human being to ever walk the earth. He had knowledge that he passed on to us about the world in general, the pursuits of mankind, and the effort that man puts into things that only pertain to this world.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is speaking to us from a place of authority. We'll begin reading in the 12th verse of the first chapter of Ecclesiastes, and we'll read through the end of the chapter.
I, the preacher,
was
king over Israel,
in Jerusalem.
And I gave my heart,
to seek and to search out by wisdom
concerning all
things that are done under heaven.
This sore travail
hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith.
I have seen all the works
that are done under the sun.
Behold,
all is vanity and vexation of spirit.
That which is crooked
cannot be made straight. That which is wanting cannot be numbered.
I communed with
my own heart, saying, Lo, I have come to great estate, got more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge.
And
I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For much wisdom is much grief, and he that increases in knowledge increases in sorrow. Now you consider the fact. He qualified what he was saying by saying, I, the preacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. He wanted people to understand the position from which he was speaking. I've been in a high position, perhaps the highest position to mankind in that day and time. There was no one that gave me instruction other than the counselors that I appointed. Mm-hmm. And of course, God. But he's saying here, consider the position that I held. That I had every authority and every power to do anything that I wanted to do in this life. There's two kinds of wisdom, and he came to know this. Mm-hmm. And I believe he was a little sad that he had pursued earthly wisdom more than he had pursued spiritual wisdom. And so he was giving us some instruction so that we could learn from him. Mm-hmm. There are two types of wisdom, two kinds of wisdom. There's the worldly wisdom that pertains to this earth, and then there's spiritual wisdom. Both have this same commonality, that it is God that gives the capacity and desire to learn. Yes. I can take the capacity as God may have given me the ability to learn very complex things. And I can go through life and I can focus on those things and I can learn them and I can become an expert. I can become certified. I can become a technician of sorts. And other people may not even understand what I'm talking about when I get into great depth of what I've learned. I could go through this life. I could get a PhD. I could take all my time and go out into the wilderness and learn everything that I can learn out there. And as I read this, I picture Solomon here as the king. He got all day.
Yeah.
He ain't going to sit there on his throne all day twiddling his fingers. So I picture him getting up and going out into the kingdom, and probably went over to where the metal worker was and just watched him do what he did. Probably went over here to where the carpenter was and watched what he did and learned all the little details. He probably asked questions of him. How do you do this? Why do you do that? And they would explain their craft to him. He probably sat out on his terrace observing the weather patterns that were going on. He didn't have a phone. He didn't have the internet. He didn't have entertainment systems. He didn't have people around him to entertain him all the time. I'm sure he had musicians.
Yes.
But he had time to learn. We mentioned about the distractions that we experience in this world. There's so many distractions that some people don't learn as much as they can or could. I believe that the capacity to learn that God has given each one is set for each person. There are some people that can go to school and they learn the topics and it shows in their grades. They end up with A's. Some of us were able in school to advance through all the math subjects. Get all the way through them. We can understand a few things. When we're driving, we can, because of what we learn, we understand that there is a coefficient, a friction coefficient, that as I'm driving along and I hit that brake, there's some friction that's going to hit that wheel, and I'll be able to stop at a certain point. You know, our brains calculate that almost instantaneous. With the data that comes into our eye as we drive and we're looking down the road and seeing what's down there, and it automatically goes to our foot and we begin to touch the brake. And when you've driven a car a while, you know exactly how long it takes to stop. Now, when you get a new car, sometimes there's an adjustment period.
Yes.
Some might stop a little harder than others. But all this is a capability of learning. Not only is it a capability, but there is a desire to learn.
Yes.
If I don't know something, I'll get a book. I'll Google it. As some people always tell me when I ask them a question. Google it. Find out that you can pretty much Google anything, can't you? You can dive into the depths of every subject that is in the earth. If I'm a person that's having a health challenge, I can go on Google. I can see exactly, this seems to be a benefit for this condition that I have. You know, I can learn to the point that I'm fatigued. I can recall many days trying to work through my homework. This subject that I'm supposed to be learning for school so that I could pass the class and fall asleep. Just brain tired from constant learning. There's some people, they don't get tired when it comes to learning. They can just absorb and absorb and absorb, and it seems like they have no limitation to what they're able to learn. And Solomon learned everything there was under the sun. I can't even go into detail about the things that he learned. But it was an ability that God gives.
Yes.
You know, I watch people get their degrees and they pat their own back. I did this, I did that. When in reality, they should be saying, thank the Lord.
That's right.
Lord, you gave me the ability and the power and the desire to achieve this. There's some places in the world they build things based on what they observe in other parts of the world. And a lot of times they don't have the same expertise as what you would call a first world country. Mm-hmm. And you can see the effects of it. Mm-hmm. When their buildings start to sink or collapse or lean. You can see there's a limitation to what they know. They know just enough to build what they're building. But over time, it is revealed how much knowledge they really have. Solomon learned it all. He said he gave his heart to seek it and search it. I don't believe Solomon was a man that slept in late. Because his characteristics that we find here in the book of Ecclesiastes, he seems to me to be a person that was eager to get up because he needed to learn something. I believe he took advantage of every moment to learn that he possibly could. Yes. Yet he found it to have some emptiness. He called it vanity, vexation of spirit. Mm-hmm. Because he realized it was temporary wisdom. You know, there's things I like to do, there's things I like to make, things I like to build, and sometimes I got to go learn a little bit about what I'm trying to do. Made a fishing lure. Created the mold. I had to create the mold a few times because the first one didn't work right. But I finally got one that works, and I poured the lure. Made a little harness to run through the lure. Took it out and tried it. And it didn't run like it was supposed to. So I said, well, I got to go back to the drawing board. And I realized that I didn't consider my weight distribution properly. That the weight that I put in the lure was in the wrong spot. So went back to the drawing board. Remade it. Now I've got to see how it works. Does it stand up in the water like it's supposed to instead of laying on its side and sinking? It should sink vertically so that when I pull it through the water, it should wobble against the forces of the water. And I'm hoping that it'll trigger a bite. You know, I don't have the tools and the software that the professional lure makers have, where they can simulate a design that they create and can show all the forces on it. I'm saying this to make a point. You have something that you have learned in life, that you're real good at, that you could create things. There's many people in the world that has skills, and they're all given by God. We're going to get some scripture to show that God gave them the skills. Somebody get Genesis 6, verse 14 through 16. Somebody else get Exodus 31, 1 through 6. Let's work with those two for now. Genesis 6, 14 through 16.
Make thee an ark of gopher wood.
Who we talking about?
Noah.
Noah. Noah was in the earth. And to my knowledge, there were no arks ever built. Yep. And so the Lord came to visit Noah. And he said, make me an ark. Read on.
Of gopher wood.
Of gopher wood.
Rooms shalt thou make in the ark.
Rooms shalt thou make in the ark.
And shalt pitch it within.
Shalt pitch it within and without. With pitch.
And this is the fashion which thou shalt.
Listen, Noah, you never built an ark before. So pay attention. This is the fashion which thou shalt make of
The length
the length of the ark.
Shall be 300 cubits.
Shall be 300 cubits.
The breadth of it,
The breadth,
50 cubits.
50 cubits.
And the height of it, 30 cubits.
The height of it, 30 cubits.
And the
Now
width-
you notice,
Yeah.
Noah didn't reply back to God and say, why can't I make all the cubits the same? It ain't going to work. God gave him the specific instructions. This is how you're going to make it. Read on.
A window shalt thou make
A
to the
window
ark,
shalt thou make
and
to
in
the
a
ark,
cubit thou shalt finish it
and
above.
in a cubit thou shalt finish it above.
And the door of the ark
The door of the
shalt
ark
thou set in the side thereof.
shalt thou set in the side
The
thereof,
lower,
with lower,
second,
the second,
and third stories. shalt
third
thou make it.
story. This ark had 3 stories. He didn't make a rowboat. He was building something big. And God gave him specific instructions on how to build it. Noah didn't build this in one day.
No.
He built it over a course of about 100 years. And then people come along, they're looking and watching him. What is this man doing? They didn't understand or comprehend the instructions that God had gave. God didn't invite them over and say, y'all listen, because I'm giving Noah some instruction. He spoke only to Noah. The scripture don't even say that his son-in-laws or his sons was even in on the conversation. This was specifically skill given to Noah. How do we know that Noah built it right?
God gave him direction.
Because we all here.
No.
If Noah didn't build it right, there would be no people on the earth.
True.
All right? Exodus, the 31st chapter, verse 1 through 6.
And the Lord spake unto Moses,
The
saying,
Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
See, I have called by name
See, I have called by name
Bezaleel,
Bezaleel, the son of
the
Uri,
son of Hur,
son of
of
Hur,
the tribe of Judah.
of the tribe of Judah.
And I have filled him
I have
with the Spirit
filled
of
him
God,
with the Spirit of
in
God,
wisdom,
in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship,
to devise cunning works,
to devise cunning
to
works,
in gold,
work in
and in
gold,
silver,
and in silver, and in brass, in the cutting of stones, to set them, in the carving of timber, to work all manner of workmanship.
And I beheld,
And
I
behold,
have given him,
I've given him Aholiab,
son of
Ahishamach,
the tribe of Dan,
from the tribe of
and
Dan,
in the hearts of
and in the hearts of all that are wise-hearted I have put wisdom,
that they may make
that they may
all that I
make
have commanded thee.
all that I have commanded. Here's another occasion. Moses is supposed to be building something. He's supposed to be building a tabernacle. Now, do you think Moses could have built everything himself?
He didn't go to school for it.
God had a different purpose for Moses. Moses' job was not to build things.
No.
His job was to lead the people.
Yes.
And so he called these other men and gave them the skill. Where do you think the jewelers get their knowledge? It's been passed down from this point. They can cut a stone, so many cuts on it, cause it to shine and vibrant in the sun. Can take gold and shape it and make chains that people wear. Next time you go on a sword, notice all the chains and the jewelry that people wear and the intricate work that's put into it.
Yes.
The chairs that you sit on, the table that you sit at, the couch that you sit on, all formed and fashioned by some skill that God has given.
Yes.
We take that stuff for granted.
Yes, we do.
But there was a beginning point for it. and it was given by God. Now let's get Genesis 4, 21 through 22. And we want Daniel 1, 8 through 20.
Genesis 4 and 21.
Genesis 4,
And
21.
his brother's name was Jubal.
His brother's name was Jubal.
He was the father of all such
He was a father of all
as
such
handle the harp and organ.
as handle the harp and organ.
And Zillah,
And
she
Zillah,
also bare,
she also bare
Tubal-Cain,
Tubal-Cain,
an instructor of
an
every
instructor
artificer,
of every
in
artificer
brass
in
and
brass and
and
iron.
the sister of Tubal-Cain.
That's good right there. Musicians.
Yes. Making instruments.
A lot of people go through life. They listen to all kind of music. Music that's played on something. God gave the instruction on how to make them.
Yes.
This person, way back then, in the beginning of the world, made it instruments for people to play. Now Daniel, the first chapter.
What verse you want?
Start at the 8th.
But Daniel purposed in his heart
Daniel purposed in his
that he
heart
would not defile himself
that he would not
with
defile
the portion
himself
of the king's meat,
with the portion of the king's meat,
nor with the wine which he
nor
drank,
with the wine
which he drank.
which he drank.
Therefore, he
Therefore,
requested of the prince of the eunuchs
he requested of the prince of the
that he
eunuchs
might not defile
that he
himself.
might not defile himself.
Now God had brought
Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs.
And the prince of
The eunuchs said unto Daniel,
I fear my lord the
I
king,
fear my lord the
who hath
king,
appointed your
who hath
meat and
appointed
your
your meat and your
For
drink.
why should he see
For why
your
should he
faces
see
worse
your
likening
faces
than the
worse
children
likening
which are
than
of
the
your
children
sword?
which are at your sword?
Then shall you make me
Then shall you make me endanger my head to the king.
Then said Daniel to Melzar,
Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Pause right there. These 4 young men, taken out of their homeland into the Babylonian Empire. And they were to be servants in King Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom. Now here it is. They want to maintain their integrity
yes,
with who they are, their identity. So we're not going to do what y'all do. And so here Daniel is wanting to put it to the test. In essence, everything we have comes from God.
yes.
And we stand by that. This empire did not know God. And so Daniel wanted to prove it. All right, read on.
Prove thy servants, I
Prove
beseech
thy
thee,
servants, I beseech
10
thee,
days,
10 days.
Let them give us
Pulse to eat,
and
water to drink.
Then let
Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee,
and the
countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat.
And
As thou seest, deal with thy servants.
So
he consented to them in this manner. Proved them 10 days.
And at the
end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children that did eat a portion of the king's meat.
Then Melzar took
Thus
away the
Melzar
portion
took
of
away
meat
the portion
and
of
the
their
wine that they should
meat
drink,
and the wine that they should
and gave
drink,
them pulse.
gave them pulse.
And as for these 4
As for
children,
these 4 children,
God-
listen to this.
God gave them knowledge.
Not only did God bless them
Help.
in their health and overall complexion,
Yes.
listen to what he did.
God gave them
God gave them knowledge and skill and all learning and wisdom.
And Daniel
Had understanding in all vision and dreams.
Now at the end
At the end of the days, the king said he should bring them in.
Then
the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar.
And the king
communed with them,
And among
and
them,
among them
all
was
found none
was
like Daniel.
found none like Daniel,
Hananiah,
Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Therefore
they stood before the king.
And in all matters
Listen
of
to this.
wisdom and
And in all manner of wisdom and understanding the king required of them, he found them 10 times better
than all the magicians,
astrologers that were in all his realm. 10 times better. They got it from God.
Yes.
God gave them the capacity to bring in all of the knowledge and wisdom that he had given unto them. And they were 10 times better than the people around them. That's why I said the capacity and desire to learn is given by God.
Yes.
And these are the scriptures that prove it. Now we got one more. 1 Kings, the 3rd chapter, verses 5 through 14. And this speaks to who we talking about.
In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon.
In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon
In a dream by night.
in a dream by
And
night.
God said,
Ask
what I shall give thee.
Ask what I shall give thee.
And Solomon said,
Solomon
Thou
said,
hast shewed unto thy servant David.
Thou hast shewed unto thy servant
David, my
David,
father, great mercy.
great mercy,
According as he walked before
according
thee
as he walked
in truth
before thee in truth,
and in righteousness,
in righteousness,
and in uprightness of heart with thee.
uprightness of heart with thee.
And thou hast kept for him this great kindness.
Thou hast kept for him this great
And
kindness.
thou hast given him a son to sit on
Thou
his
hast
throne,
given him a son to sit on the throne,
as it is this day.
as it is this day.
And now, O
Now, O Lord my
thou
God,
thou
hast made thy servant king instead of David thy father.
And I'm but a little
I'm just a
child.
little child.
I know not how
Know not how to go out or come in.
And thy servant,
is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people,
that cannot
be numbered or counted for multitude.
Give
Give therefore thy servant understanding heart to judge thy people,
that
I may discern between good and
For
bad.
who is able to
For
judge
who is
this,
able to
thy
judge
so great a
this,
people?
thy so great a people?
And the speech pleased the
And
Lord.
the speech pleased the
Solomon
Lord,
had asked this thing.
that Solomon asked this
God
thing.
said unto
God
him,
said unto him,
Because
because thou hast asked this thing, and hast
not
asked for
thyself
long life, neither asked for riches for thyself,
nor
hast asked for the life of thine enemies,
but
but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment.
Behold,
I have done according to thy words.
Lo,
I have given thee a wise and understanding heart,
so that
there is none like thee,
neither after thee shall any arise.
neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee.
And I have also given
thee that which thou hast not asked,
both
riches and honor, so that there be not any among the kings like unto thee in all thy days.
And
Here's
if
the
thou wilt
carrot.
walk in my ways,
If thou walk in my ways,
keep my statutes
and my commandments, as thy father David did walk,
then I will lengthen
I will
thy
lengthen
days.
thy days. This is the one that wrote Ecclesiastes. Somewhere along the way, he valued the worldly wisdom more than the spiritual wisdom. God gave him the ability to understand everything.
Yes.
I don't believe there's anyone that needed to thoroughly explain in detail what they was doing, because he had the ability and the capacity to see, observe what few questions he may have asked. He understood it immediately. Can you imagine all that knowledge going through your head? You able to understand everything in the world? I know how to do this. I know how to do that. From what I observe from the weather, I see that there's patterns that occur. If his eyesight was great and he could see out in space, he probably would understand some of that. But he didn't have that ability at that time. And he said it had an element of emptiness to it. And there was also grief and sorrow tied to it. After all of his rational satisfaction from learning what he had learned. The investigation into everything, the operations of nature, the perplexing experiments. You know, he built aqueducts that brought water into the city. Understood how to get the water from this point to that point. Yet there was emptiness. He felt. I done did all this stuff. And now I'm up in years and I got to regret that I didn't learn the spiritual wisdom. As he went through his, I guess, inventory, if you could say that, of his life, man, I should have learned more. I should have asked God for wisdom about how to conduct myself. Because he said that he had did everything. And I mentioned last time, if you read the Clark's commentary, it goes into greater detail of all the things that he did. And I believe that if he would have gotten some more spiritual wisdom, he would have probably had a little more discretion and a little more self-restraint in the things that he did. Now we look in here at the wisest man that ever walked the earth. There's people that are not nearly as wise as him. Matter of fact, there's a lot of ignorant people in the world.
There is.
You know that saying, ignorance is bliss? There is a kernel of truth to that statement. And in my curiosity, I said, where did this originate? And I found that it was originated from Thomas Gray, a poet. And it came from his poem, Ode on a Distant Prospect of Eton College, published in 1742. And one of the things that it says is the saying suggests that a lack of knowledge can lead to happiness or contentment, as it shields one from worry or suffering. Yeah, there's some things that, yes, you want to be ignorant about because you don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
But in essence, the ability to gain wisdom and knowledge comes from God, and I believe that he expects everyone to exercise it. So ignorance is not always bliss.
No.
Solomon had gained great wisdom when it comes to the things of the world, but he had not gained spiritual wisdom to the degree that he could have.
Yes.
And therefore, ignorance was not bliss for him. Because he hadn't gained that spiritual wisdom, he didn't understand some things that would have kept him along the pathway of life. Now let's talk about spiritual wisdom. I'm going to say this again. The capacity and desire to learn is given by God. Just like worldly wisdom, you have that ability when it comes to spiritual wisdom. Do you know that the world does not understand what spiritual wisdom is? I want to read an account of an individual in the New Testament who had the ability to learn many, many things as he grew up. And he learned so much that he became an authority figure, if you will, on many subjects, even though his learning had taken him down the wrong path. We're talking about the Apostle Paul. Here's a man that was educated by the very best in his world at that time. You name any prestigious school in the world, they would be on his learning was on that level. He would go, he was probably sent to the location, and he spent hours learning from these people. philosophies, different religious knowledge. And you know he found himself on the wrong track. And God had to come along, put him to his knees, and tell him, you on the wrong track, so to speak. You are fighting against Jesus Christ, the one that I've sent to cleanse people from their sins. And you're taking their people and you're persecuting them. Along the way, the Apostle Paul got it right. And don't you think he applied himself with the same zealousness and desire as he did to learn all them other things? Yes. How do we know this? Because he wrote a whole lot of books in the Bible. And we can see the knowledge that God gave him once he got on the right path. Now listen to this account. In Acts, the 26th chapter, verse 24 through 28, here he is in an interaction with a leader of the world, trying to explain to this leader how things should be. And listen what the leader says.
And as he thus spake for himself,
Festus
said with a loud
voice, Paul,
thou art
beside thyself. Much learning doth make thee mad.
But he said,
I'm not mad, most noble Festus,
but
speak forth the words of truth and soberness.
For the king knoweth of these things.
Before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him.
For this thing was
not done in a corner.
King Agrippa,
believest thou prophets? I know thou believest.
Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian.
Thou almost persuaded me to be a Christian. The Apostle Paul had gotten some spiritual wisdom that he was sharing with these men. Here he is. They're trying him for what he's doing along his course and journey of life at this point. And he is trying to impart to them some truth and soberness.
Yes.
I find that interesting. We live in a crazy world where people's knowledge has literally made them mad.
Yes.
They have no understanding and ability to grasp what truth and soberness is. And here the Apostle Paul is trying to tell these men. He had been on their side. He had done the things they'd done. He ran around persecuting those that believed in Christ. And he had come to a realization, I'm in the wrong place.
Yes.
As God revealed himself to him. And then here, the Apostle Paul, you know what he's doing? He's going about sharing the same truth that he used to persecute.
Yes.
And then he speaks to them about truth and soberness. Do you know that in society, there are many people who are not sober?
Mm-hmm.
What does soberness do for us? Soberness causes us to weigh the effect of what we do. If I do this, what is going to happen? That's what soberness is. If I go racing down the street 100 miles an hour and I don't think about what can happen, I lack soberness. Mm-hmm. Oh, my buddy is go to me on let's race. There are many nights I lay in bed and I hear the motorcycles racing. And I figure one day I'm going to hear a crash. Mm-hmm. They're out there on the street racing each other. They lack soberness. What does the speed limit say on this road that I'm driving on. So why would I excessively exceed the speed limit? I lack some soberness, right?
Right.
That's a part of wisdom. There's some other things that we get from spiritual wisdom. Let's turn to James, the 3rd chapter. James 3, verse 17. If you can learn this kind of wisdom, it will help you the entirety of your life.
But the wisdom that is from above.
Listen to this. This is what James is telling us.
Yes.
The wisdom that is from above
is
first pure.
Then peaceable.
Then it's peaceable.
Gentle. And easy to be entreated.
Full of mercy.
Good fruits.
Without partiality.
Without hypocrisy.
And without hypocrisy. This is the wisdom we should desire.
Yes.
It says it's pure. That means it's like God. There's some integrity and some genuineness to the wisdom that God gives. That causes me to govern myself in a way that God would be pleased. Mm-hmm. Solomon found he had done some things in life that was not what God would be pleased with.
True.
And he had regrets.
Yes.
You and I should have regrets. When we find ourselves considering what we've done in life and the things that don't please God, we should have some regrets. Mm-hmm. And we should ask God to help us. Gentle. You know that you can go up to someone that's gentle, and I don't have to worry about them going crazy on me, if you will. I don't think I have to worry about them punching me in the face and knocking me out. Their behavior is such that anyone could approach them, even a little child. Mm-hmm. And the child would not feel threatened. Then it says, easy to be entreated. That means God can work with me. Mm-hmm. And if God sends someone else along my path to give me some instruction, I can receive it. I don't have to say, well, what's your qualifications? Or because I don't get my way, I'm going to throw a tantrum and I'm going to come after you. Easy to be entreated. That means somebody can tell you when you're wrong. Yes. And you accept it. This is the kind of wisdom that we need. It says full of mercy. We want God's mercy, don't we?
Yes.
What does it say? Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. To be merciful to people. Somebody does you wrong, you got the grace enough to forgive them. Good fruits. That means the things that you do are productive and beneficial to all those around you. Without partiality. The wisdom that I have, I don't just reserve for those that are special to me. And lastly, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm genuine. This is the spiritual wisdom that can carry us a long way in life. When the Apostle Paul got himself together, these were the attributes of wisdom that he had gained. And he was able to endure great persecution in his life. And he was able to affect and influence many people to come to Christ because they saw it was genuine and real. Mm-hmm. What did Ananias say when God said, I want you to pray for him? Lord, I done heard what they said about this man. And God can come along and say, he's praying now. And Ananias can take that and believe it.
Yes.
And Apostle Paul could be blessed. And he in turn blessed so many people. He's still blessing people by the words that God inspired through him. One of the things that Solomon mentioned in this first chapter is nature. He was an observer of nature. You know that some people spend too much time doing things that are not really productive. Some people spend too much time on their phones and other electronics. It would be good for you to take some of that time and sit outside and observe nature. Nature is a different pace than what the world goes at. And it will help us to understand God a little bit better. That when we call on God, he ain't going to jump off his throne and run down and give us a blessing right away. There's a timing to what he does. And when you sit outside and you observe the skies, you observe nature in itself, the birds, the other animals. There's a timing that's different to what humans have.
True.
How fast can I pull up the next topic on my phone? Or the next video? How fast can I go from this to that? As fast as the machine works, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. What do they call it? Gigahertz? Yep. Faster than our brain can comprehend. You sit out in nature and see it's a different pace. Got these little baby turtles come up out the ground where we live. And a few days I sat out there and I watched them. Now you think a turtle's slow. For the most part, they are. But when that turtle wanted to get from one place to the other, he was on the move. They ain't as slow as you think. I'm sitting out there and I'm watching him go from that corner of the yard to the other corner of the yard, and it only took him a few minutes. And I said, I didn't know they went that fast. Well, they got 4 legs, so they should be able to move. Then I observed one that wasn't used to us being out there. And it was going to a place and it's looking. Move a little more. Look. There was a cautiousness about that turtle. And when I went to walk over to the turtle, you know what he did? Went in his shell. Because he didn't know what I was going to do. And I said, I can learn something from this turtle. That when I am approached with things that I'm not sure about, I better go in my shell. Lest I perish. That's part of the wisdom that God gives. I'm not sure about this. I'm going to be a little hesitant. I'm going to look both ways. You know the first thing you learned when you started walking and you went to kindergarten? Before you cross the street, look both ways. You know that still rings in my head today. When I'm driving and I get to an intersection, I look both ways. Because I've seen cars go right through the red lights and hit other people. There should be a cautiousness that we should have. And I believe that Solomon regretted. He didn't have as much cautiousness as he should have. Because he said, I did everything. Not everything you do is good. Not everything he did was good. We have the record of his life and the mess that he made of it. But we can have some cautiousness about us.
Yes.
I've also sat out there and observed the ants. And I watched the ants. You see one pick up a piece of leaf and can barely carry it. And another ant will come over there and get the other side. And they work together, moving that leaf to where they live. And I said, look at that. They can work together without fighting. You see, there's wisdom in nature.
Yes.
That applies to us spiritually. Take some time and observe nature. This is what the writer said about nature. The more we study and investigate its operations, the more we shall be convinced that all is a consecutive and well-ordered whole. And that in the chain of nature, not one link is broken, deficient, or lost. Now I look at the Bible that way. There's a lot of people got some problems. Well, this contradicts that, or this says this, and that says that. We live in a different time. Let me tell you something. The Bible was well ordered from the beginning.
True.
And everybody that God used to write it, he meant for them to write what they wrote.
Yes.
And if I got a problem with something that is said, I better be going to God so he can fix me. Because the end of getting this wisdom is the life you want in eternity. And people go through this world chasing everything under the sun.
Yes.
Gaining knowledge on so many things. And when the end of life comes, it all means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's going to last is the spiritual wisdom that we gain. Some of us can put some things down. I don't need to spend so much time on this or that. I need to reprioritize my time so that I can get something that's going to give me something in eternity. We all have to take self-inventory just like Solomon did. And look in our lives and say, what am I doing in this life? What's my pursuits? Is everything I'm doing a benefit, or am I just wasting time? And we have to consider these things. I need to get some spiritual wisdom. I go through the day and I load my mind with all these things from the world. I need to counteract that with some spiritual wisdom. Otherwise, I'm going to find myself so far off the path that I may not get back. And there's a whole lot of people in the world like that. They're smarter than you and me combined.
Yes.
They done made more money than you and me combined. They've been on so many trips, more than you and me combined. All these things that they have done. And they have no spiritual wisdom.
Nope.
Do you know that's what's the problem with the leaders of the lands? We have leaders of the lands that do not have spiritual wisdom.
True.
And you can tell by the way they govern. It's sad to see. Here's a leader of a land.
Mm-hmm.
He governed the way God wanted him to govern, and he served for a very long time. It wasn't just 4 years. The time he served, I don't believe we can find a complaint from the people that he did them wrong and didn't govern according to the way God had given him wisdom. Yet he had some regrets that he did not have enough spiritual wisdom in all that he got. We have to consider our own lives. And we have to balance it out. I'm going to tell on myself. One day I sat there on my phone. I didn't have work. And I sat there on my phone, fiddling here, fiddling there, playing some games, looking at videos. And before I knew it, it was bedtime. And I thought to myself, I just wasted a whole day. The whole day. That was a regret. Then I got to thinking, did I get enough spiritual wisdom today to counteract all the foolishness that I did? This is what we must consider. Some of us are at the beginning of life. And we can make the corrections that need to be made. Yes. Some of us are in the middle of life. And we still need to make corrections that need to be made. And then some of us are at the end of life. And you know, we still can make corrections that need to be made. And this is what this writer was telling us. All this stuff in this world is vanity and vexation of spirit. And you and I have to consider sometimes, is this worth it? And we better be listening to God. Because sometimes he'll come along and tell us, that ain't doing you no good. You need to stop doing that. We have to consider sometimes. He says, you shouldn't say that. Don't say it. He'll say, don't waste time staying up late and getting up early. It's not doing you any good. And you and I have to pay attention to these things. Because first of all, we want to have spiritual wisdom. Yes. And we want to go through our life and have as few regrets as we possibly can. So we need to be like that turtle, not the one that went shooting across the yard like he was on a mission, but be like the other one that would go a little ways and he looked both ways. And anytime anything he thought was a danger to him, he closed in. God's got a place for us to close into. Sometimes he'll give us an out. We doing something that ain't doing us no good, and he gives us an out so that we can correct our behavior. These are the things we must do in life. Take time to sit out in nature. If you can't sit outside for an hour and just sit still, there's a problem. Something has a hold of you. And you as human beings, you have control over your life and the things that you do. And if you waste it with stuff that you chase, doing this and doing that, and you don't take time to sit still, at least for an hour, no electronics, no distractions, just sit like Solomon did and observe. And a few times that you do that, you may hear God's voice speak to you and tell you, give you a course of action, give you a direction change, and it will help you in your life. But at least an hour. That's one thing that I consider and observe when you watch the old saints from way back then. They didn't have all these distractions we got. And they sat and they listened. Sometimes they would spend time in prayer. And it wasn't just a few minutes. And they had something we don't have, it seems like, in this day and time. The world runs us here and there. Says, here, you need to watch this. You need to look at this. You need to have this distraction. You need to be doing something. Yes, the idle mind is a devil's workshop. But when you sitting still, waiting, observing, and listening, that's not an idle mind. Mm-hmm. I'm taking in God's creation and seeing how it functions. I'm taking in God's weather and see how it moves. And I'm taking in the little voice that's speaking to me when all the other times I'm too busy to hear it. This is what we must consider from Ecclesiastes, the first chapter. This is from the wisest man. And he's telling us how we should do in life. He had regrets. Mm-hmm. We may have some regrets ourselves. But there's always the ability to change. Yes. All we do is humble, ask God, Lord, help me. Mm-hmm. I spend too much time doing such and such. Help me to create new habits. Help me to create a better course of action so that I can be successful in the things that are required of me. And that's what we have to do. Amen. I want to end with a particular song that the Lord brought to my mind, number 219. This is a summarization of seeking spiritual wisdom. The verses say this: I am learning of my Savior precious lessons every hour, how the soul which he has ransomed may be kept by mighty power. Learning more and more to love him, yielding all into his will, while a joy beyond all utterance through and through my soul to thrill. I am learning how to serve him with my hands, my heart, my feet. And each day my master's service to my soul becomes more sweet. I am learning how to trust him with my life and for all things. And my spirit filled with glory and exceeding gladness sings. Yes. And then the chorus says, I am learning precious truths in Jesus' word. I am learning of the lowly Lamb of God. Mm-hmm. You know, there was no one that Jesus came in contact with that he forced his truth on. No. You notice the ones that got the greatest blessings was the ones that sought him out. Mm-hmm. What did Zacchaeus do? Here this little short man ain't even got the stature of everybody else. I imagine he would walk through the crowd and no one could even see him because he was too short. Mm-hmm. And as he looked, he said, Jesus is coming my way and I got to see him today. And he went and climbed the slippiest tree that you could find. Got up there where Jesus could see him and Jesus could see his desire to learn. And he said, come on down, Zacchaeus. I'm coming to your house today. Yeah. And that's what Jesus wants to do for all of us. Give us some spiritual wisdom. Give us some order and direction in life. Yes. Amen.